So, soon we are here, now we are here. You know who I am and you know what we're doing, so let's turn off the music. We're working on Fiiish. We are working on Fiiish. And yeah, coin collection sounds are still in, right? And we're kind of done with our initial list, right? But we still have some minor polishing to do. And there's one thing I definitely want to address, and I'm gonna do it today. I have no idea how we're gonna do this, but remember the Rust version, right? Probably updated Rust, so it's gonna be there in a minute. This is an old machine. Give it a second. So while this is compiling, I think I fixed the audio, and the trick actually was, I mean, I run a Mac, right? So I can just create a combined, you just go create multi-output device and then use that, right? And just use that. And then my audio will be on that multi-output device, and I hear it, you hear me, and everything is fine, right? And pressing escape at exactly the perfect moment. Sorry about that. But remember, this is the, I'm gonna go in my corner. This is the old Rust version, right? And we took great care, ignore the flickering during the resizing, but whatever aspect ratio we have, I mean, if it's too small, it's kind of silly, right? Because the fish is out of view. But we can play the game in any aspect ratio, right? And that was super important. We still have the background scrolling issue, but I don't care too much about that, right? But you can play whatever your screen is, and that just works. And that took some effort, and we kind of got that working in the Unity version, but in the Godot version, which we have running here, we have these ugly black bars, right? So if you go to white, we get them at the sides, and if we go to high, we get them at the top of the bottom, and that just doesn't look right, right? I mean, if people decide to play in this mode, it's their problem, right? I expect like something, maybe square is kind of should be playable, and something like ultra wide. What is the widest screen aspect ratio? I have no idea what is reasonable, right? 21:9 ultra wide formats. So ultra wide, yeah, that zoom level is probably not what we were looking for, but I just want the number, right? So 2:1 seems to be roughly this thing, right? Is there a ultra wide is 64:27, which is roughly 2 point something by, I mean, it's 2.4, right? So 2.4 is probably twice as wide as high. So probably we talk about this. This should still be just eyeballing it here. This should still work, right? If you have a nice fat screen, this should work. This still should look okay and work, but it can have glitches, like stuff popping in late here, right? Or popping out early here. That's fine with me, but it should still be playable. And then obviously mobile phone, something like this, maybe. I mean, narrowest aspect ratio. Right, so 6:13. So probably this, roughly this, probably won't work anymore because it will degrade our fish, but then you don't play in portrait mode, you play in landscape, right? But step one, and I have no idea how to do this, and I'm a bit scared. I'm not scared, but I'm a bit, this will be a challenging Saturday night work. My batteries are draining here. So let's dive straight into it and get this done, right? And so I did some research. And in the project settings, right, we had this, was it window, right? We have this stretch mode. And that is adding the black bars, right? That is, I wish there was a stretch mode that says, yes, keep the height fixed, but render everything. So I think we have no chance but to go back to disabled, right? And now just doing that will probably, so in the default resolution, right? And the default resolution is, I want 1920 by 1080, right? Or maybe we divide that by 2 for now for testing, but we want the same aspect ratio, right? And everything is, it's not scaling, right? There's nothing scaling the thing. So the nice thing is my background now is the full background, right? If I go super wide, it fills everything and the UI is nicely stuck to the corners. And if I go super narrow, the UI works, right? But the game doesn't work. And that's, but we got rid of the black bars. So black bars gone, right? Bye-bye. The problem is, this is not where the fish is supposed to be, right? And the obstacles are, this is not helpful, right? This is not helpful, and probably, I'm not sure yet if the UI should scale or not. If these buttons should scale or not, and not sure yet, right? But that's step 2. So step 1, let's make sure our game scales. And our game, the trick we did, we set the screen height, right? The height is always a virtual 124. And so we're going to do that. I have no idea. I have no idea how, right? So let's do this. So I think what we want to do is, I mean, this is our game control, right? This is our game. And maybe, I'm not sure, maybe we do this in two parts, right? So I was thinking, we have a node 2D, right? So we could add just a viewport probably, but then we get into render target scaling. That's probably how we should have done it from the start. But what if we use the node 2D here and call it game scaler, right? And just drag the game node under it. And it's a bit hard to see because we have no test assets in here, right? But the scaler here has a transform. And what happens if we just scale everything, right? If we scale everything, so let's say we scale everything by 0.5 and then offset the, well, that's dragging here is not going to work, but offset the position to accommodate for that, right? And obviously we're not going to do that manually. We're going to do that via script. So let's reset the damage we've done here. Right, and actually I want to do something else under the game node, right? I'm gonna add a child node, which is just a node, and I'm gonna call it markers, so we see what we're doing, right? So we see what we're doing, and actually I want them, let's put them all the way in the front, right? So we add a sprite 2D here, because that's what everything will be, right? And just abuse one of our textures. Let's use a UI button because they're nice and square, and let's just use our cross, right? So we have our UI button here, which is nice and centered, and So what I want is the 0, 0 should be here, right? So if we have a transform here and say this is 0, 0, right? I want this to be at the center, I guess. I mean, where's the center of this game node, right? That game node has a position. So what if we took this 960 and 512, right? And just put that here for now. Right, that moves everything. I'm not sure why this is not moved along with it. I mean, here we can just reset that, right? And then everything still works as before. I wonder why the sprite, if I change this transform, right? Why doesn't this sprite? Oh, because, okay, let's we need a node 2D for the markers, right? So we could have just changed the, do we? Oh, now it fixed the positioning, right? So now it's in the center and we just call this markers. So what we want, if this is exactly at 512, right? And upside down, we want it exactly on the boundary, right? We want it exactly like this, and the cross is helping nicely here, which is cool. The problem is if we start scaling here, right? It's moving. So if we scale to half size, we probably have to add, not here, have to add half the size, right? So plus 256, and then it's scaled and interesting. What am I doing wrong in my head? Oh, we're not actually, the window is not actually getting smaller. So okay, makes sense, right? So we are half scaled. Let's go big, and we're down here now. But everything is now matching that scale, right? We didn't really scale the window, so it's a bit hard to test, but imagine that the window border is here, right? So everything is working in our local coordinate system. Actually, let's copy this marker, and this is bottom. Let's just duplicate this and call this top, and set the transform to -512, right? So that is our range we want to work in, right? This is our virtual game. So I want this X to be exactly on the edge of the screen, right? And we're scaling now without really scaling. So we need to fix the scaler, right? So if I reset this and reset this, that was not good. And reset this, right? Everything, as long as I don't touch the window, everything is working, right? I'm not sure why we are working on 1920 by 1080. And there's something yucky going on at the bottom here, right? But let's fix it one by one. And I'm not sure if so. The game node. Background, fishes. So this is the game, right? And this is the background. And that is fine, right? The background is doing what it's supposed to be. The background is just... no, the background is not doing what it's supposed to be. So we ignore the background. Let's fix the game, right? I actually wanted to scale, not to drag. So let's fix the game. So let's fix the game scaler, right? So we have a game scaler. And in process, because every frame, right? We could just do, probably it's just scale dot. We scale in both directions, right? So say var scale equals 1.0 to be calculated and say this is, yeah, variable name overloading, right? So something like this. And then the position dot y is, I don't know what, right? Let's say 512 for the moment. Right, so we do that every frame and everything is fine, right? So still not sure about this viewport being wrong, but that might be Godot problem in full screen mode actually. I think that's actually a background problem. Okay. Let's fix the gameplay, right? So I want the game to, I want these red markers to be in the right spot, right? I want them to be in the correct spot. So how do we do this? We need the screen size somehow, right? Get viewport. GD script get window size. I don't want Reddit. Display server singleton. Display server, so display server, let's look that up. Everything related to window management. I mean, we saw the solution, right? Solution is window get size. So we have a window get size. Returns the size of the window specified. What if we don't specify the window? Window get size or get viewport. What does get viewport? What's the difference between get size and get viewport, right? So we could say get window size. Wait a second. Get window get size. Okay. Window get size, right? That's the one we... Can you pin this up here, please? No, 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 no. I did something. Window get size, right? And then there's get viewport, probably just size. So it's one of these, right? So let's try the viewport, right? Because I don't want the window size. We might be rendering into texture, so what is the scale, right? We know we want our height to be 1024, but we have something different. So we need to know the factor, right? So we want 1024 and we divide that by, maybe my mouse is flipped, by screen size, right? Or is it the other way around? I think it's actually the other way around, right? Ignore the position thing, just look for the scale. So things get smaller when I make the window smaller, right? And get bigger when I make them bigger. And that's what we want. And the width doesn't really have an effect, right? To a certain degree, at a certain point, we should stop squeezing, but please, players, don't be silly, right? So our offset obviously is wrong now, but the scaling feels correct. We'll know in a minute, right? So what is our position? So if we have a scale of 1, right? If our scale is 1, our position is 512, because we want to offset half the screen height, right? So I think all we have to do is multiply that by scale. So our markers are, oh, well, that's position Y, right? Let's talk about position X in a second, right? So our red markers are exactly at the top and the bottom, right? Always, which is what we want. Which is what we want. Obviously, we want the screen center to be the screen center, but we're not touching the center, right? Oh, we obviously, I mean, is 960 by scale, right? And I'm using the 960 here. That's not really what we want, right? But that's the game, right? We go smaller, the game goes smaller, the UI stays the same. I'm not sure that's a smart idea. Let's fix the UI in step 2. Let's see if this if all the so all the coins seem to be spawning correctly, and these, let's actually pause this. Oh, we should not pause the game scaler, right? It's running always. So let's try that again. Again, right? So let's pause this. Oh, okay. But the game node has inherit on the right. This is pausable. Let's see. Okay, so the scaling works, right? And everything here seems to be stuck to the edges. So our local coordinate system is working correctly. And that's what we want, right? I think we will scale the UI too. Maybe we have breaking points for the UI and say, okay, up to this size, we have this size, up to this size, we have this size. But that's the scaling of the game, right? And I'm not sure. I want this. Do I want the 0? I want the 0 to be in the middle of the screen, right? I want these red markers to stay in the middle of the window, so our position X is not correct. So wait. What if we say 0 here, right? That means our 0 is here, right? And then we have the window size, which is, 960, but we want half of that, right? We want half of we want half of the 960, right? We want half of the 960. And then we want to scale that. What is my brain? Oh, wait. When the window gets when the window gets wider, right? We want this number to go up. Okay, I'm doing junk math here. What is my so the Y position is correct, right? So if we don't do this, right? If we don't do this, our 0 will be at the left. We want to push the 0 halfway into the window, right? So this is just no scale, nothing, right? This is just screen times screen size dot x, which is half, right? We don't care about the scaling. We just want the middle to be the middle, right? And yes, if we go to narrow, we don't see the fish anymore. Tough luck. If we go to wide, let's actually test that, right? So if nobody's going to play like this, right? Let's assume people play like this and then they start swimming, right? And nothing pops in magically here on the side. So we removed the next zone button here, which is kind of silly. So you see one problem here, that this stuff here starts plopping out early. So we do have our helper here, right? We have our area 2D here. Where is it? Where's our game zone? Where is this? Can I see this rectangle, please? Okay. So this is our game zone, right? So all we have to do is probably, we made it very large on the right side anyway, right? So stuff doesn't despawn on that side while being respawned, large zones and stuff, but we can just make this. Where's the position? Wait. This is the position, right? And this is the... Something is not right here. So, oh, here's the rectangle, right? So what if we just make that a little bit larger? Let's say we make that 2000 larger. And then test with that, right? So we play like, well, nobody's going to play like this. People are going to play, I mean, people are, do you dual screen fish? This is more principle, right? So let's see if stuff despawns while still visible. I mean, ideally we could calculate that box and just resize it to match the left boundary of the screen, but it's still not large enough. What if we just make this larger? I'm not sure if... Oh, yeah, that's only for the coins, right? That is only for the coins. I think the objects despawn themselves at a certain point. Yeah, and you saw this new zone plop in here, right? So... at what aspect ratio are we now? Are we fixing bugs that will never really happen, right? So var as a for aspect is screen size dot x divided by screen size dot y, right? And then let's just print that value if it makes sense at all, right? Because we said from 2 to 1, 2.4 to 1 to roughly square, right? So, oh, wait. Let's make sure these are floats. Yeah, we could have just cast it, right? So 2.4 we set. So, I mean, this aspect ratio here is 3.5, and we said we wanted to support to like 2.5, right? So this is kind of a reasonable width. Well, let's see if coins don't disappear because we made that zone so freaking large, right? And let's see what happens to these pillars. They plop out a little bit early. And I want to see what happens on the right side. So this is a zigzag zone, right? So ignore the left side. They seem to be fading in far enough to the right. And this is an extreme situation, right? So no plopping on the right side. So we just fix the left side, which is nice. And then we do the, okay, square. Square is absolute maximum we support, right? This is the edge of sanity. And the fish is just barely in there. Our pressing space. I'm not sure what that was. Pressing space in pause mode toggles the... Why don't we get updates anymore, or we do? Okay. So this is the maximum we want to play, right? There's something weird going on with the buttons that I can't press right now. The UI should not be affected, but let's fix the game first, right? In the game like this, is it fun? Maybe not, but usually we have more 4x3, right? So we have something like this, and this is kind of okay for old school, and modern is more 16:9, so something like this probably, right? And this is fine. So we want to fix the... Yeah, we need to work on, we need to fix up the UI. Agreed, we need to fix up the UI. The UI needs to scale, which is gonna be interesting, because we don't control the UI, right? Maybe we can just scale the control node. So we want to fix the plopping out of the elements, right? That's probably a hard-coded number somewhere, and we need to increase that a little bit. So is that actually in the... Is that actually in the obstacle script? Where's our... This is textures. This is textures. This is scenes. This is obstacles. So this has an attached script, right? And this says... Oh, we have a game manager left boundary. Okay, that makes life much easier, right? So we have a game manager in game. We have a game manager in here, game manager, and that has a left boundary. So let's just set that a bit higher, right? And we wanted to, the helper, this game zone, that was too much, right? So we want to, this is 16:9, we want to 2.5 by something, right? So let's go a bit wider. Let's see where they plop out. We could just do the math, but then nothing is plopping out on the left side within the screen anymore, right? And we could just use the game zone as well and do a collision check. But the game is doing fine, right? So this is the game scaling that we just fixed. The background is not doing fine at all, right? And I wonder... So let's pause this somewhere, right? Let's just pause this here. And the game background should be filling the screen, right? But it should have a fixed height. So I don't think we can use UI here, right? So what if we switched back to this background here, right? This background but just made it a background, right? You're breaking stuff here on a grand scale, right? Because we have the script here, and maybe we can attach a script here, right? The background script. And that means we need to use the other shader here, or the other material rather, right? So we quick load the... We don't have a material. Wait, what material is this using? This is using a shader, right? This is using this shader. Where's this shader? That's why you should... where's the shader? We have the background shader here, right? So can we use this shader in here? We can. Right? I mean, this will probably be totally wrong because we don't have the second texture set. This... Okay. That makes sense, right? So... So let's detach this script because I don't want to, and let's just create a new script, right? Let's create a new script and call this sprite background. Right, background, and we kind of copy a lot of this, right? We just, nope. I want to select everything. Everything, go here. And the only thing we change... Copy. And paste, right? And this extends sprite 2D. And we go in here, and this has the gradient texture, right? So we have to fix that up again. We have to fix that up again. Not a big problem, right? So we put the gradient in here, and I think if we press play now, so sprite obviously, so we call this BG offset, right? BG offset. Go here, BG offset is 0, and then somewhere we just use BG offset. Bit of cheating, but I think this should even work in the editor. So it renders once and then it crashes in Okay, this is BG offset. I didn't fix all the offsets, right? So let's see. Oh no, this is actually offset. Oh, okay, this is, we only changed the script variable, right? So yeah. Well, obviously this background is not wired up yet, right? So the problem is this background gets a on game state changed, right? And here we have the, no, actually in game we have on game state changed, right? And we trigger that in background, but we also want to trigger that in the new background, right? We're going to get rid of the old background in a second. So we have the background, we have the transition, ignore the texture mode is wrong, right? So, but if we kill, oh, you can't see it now, which is not helpful, but it goes black. And then it goes to turquoise, and then it keeps scrolling, right? So we need to fix the texture mode here real quick. So texture repeat is enabled, I guess. Yeah, so it just wraps around, right? And that's part one of it working. And you see the difference here is the UI is broken. So I can scale it, right, and the height of the background stays fixed. We cannot do that with a texture rect from the UI, but with the sprite is naturally scaling, right? So it's currently not stopping. I'm not sure why it's not stopping. Oh, why is it? Because it's not under the game node, right? So it's not affected by the pause. So we probably want this here. And then try again. So start scrolling, I press pause, it is paused, I kill, it goes black, I guess, it goes black, and I start swimming, it does the fade again, and fades back in, right? And the nice thing is it does this scaling with the height now, but we need to repeat it, right? So we have this texture here, and I wonder if we could use the, oh, right. Let's reload this, right? Because then we have the background mode, and we can actually, if we set the face, right? If we set the face, we can even see it in editor, right? And maybe set that to a nice 1.5, 0.5 in editor just to see what we're doing. So when you, the trick was when you have like tools, when you have tool scripts, you need to reload the scene because they don't necessarily run correctly. That works, but obviously we want this to repeat, right? So what we actually want is I don't think we want to scale here, right? Because that will just stretch it. How do we do this? I mean, we have the offset, right? Do we do this scale? I mean, we don't want this, right? We don't want this. Do we? Do we? What do we actually want? I mean, I want this, right? I want this to fill the screen. And I want the texture to repeat. So how do I do that? I have no idea. Do we want to? And maybe, right? The thing with this is, right, with the background is, we have this tile mode, right? So when we, not the material, when we, so we have the tile mode when we make it bigger, right? So when we, come on, when we layout it and transform it and make the size twice as wide, right? We just get it twice next to each other. And obviously twice is not going to cut it. So what if we make it 3 times as wide, right? And then offset it to the left. And I'm not sure why this is here. And then offset it basically half of that, right? Oh, obviously minus, right? Wait. So we want the anchor points in the middle. Oh, it's not under the game scaler, right? What if we just move this under the game scaler? But at the very top here, right? I want it here. I want it here. Does anything we do in the game scaler affect the... So it affects the background, right? And if I change the offset, it affects the background. So that is nice, right? So if I the position of the background is wrong now, right? So I'm not even sure we can we just center this, please? Thank you. We center this and make it 3 times as wide, right? And then we need to do this plus, no, minus 1.5 times. That was the wrong direction, right? My mass, what am I doing? So 0, right? We offset this by minus 512 from our virtual, that's the texture size, right? That's positioning the texture in the middle, and then we offset that by another 1024. So this virtual texture is in the middle, right? So if I press play now, it fills the whole background. It's probably too big right now, right? Because for this case, it would only need it once. And for this case, it needs it only twice, but then we have the offset problem, right? And for this case, it probably needs it 3 times, and then it runs out of texture. So we could just say, we could just say this is 1024 times 5, right? And then this is minus 512 minus 2 times 1024, right? We're centering it, and I'm entering formulas there, so we can do that in code, right? So it is definitely wide enough for my screen now, but it's still, if somebody goes super wide, it goes away, right? And I don't want that. I want it to be always there, and I don't want it to be in. I could just keep doing it and repeat it 15 times, right? But then what the hell would be this? What the hell would be going on here? So let's fix that. Let's fix that in the background script, right? And let's keep this for reference. So in the background script, we have, actually, let's call it func fix size, fix size. Right? So we need the screen size. We know how to get that, right? Because the game scaler does the same. We need the screen size. It's nice that the actual screen size is nowhere in here, which makes me... Is it? The actual screen size is nowhere in here, so it's purely using our virtual size here, which is good, right? So we can set the default to whatever we want. So this is the screen size, right? And we need to know how often we need to repeat the texture, right? We need to repeat it. We know our texture is 1024. Maybe we should use the texture size. Woohoo, it's 1024, right? So we divide the screen size by 1024, right? And this will give us, I don't know. Let's actually, right, let's print this out, actually call this. And probably we shouldn't be doing this every frame, right? Calling this and the game scaler, let's remove this, right? So if I run now, and it's going to give us two values, right? So the first is the X repeat and the second is the Y repeat. And the Y repeat we don't really care about because we scale it anyway, right? So we care about the X repeat. So let's just do this only for X, right? Let's just only do this for X. So we need to repeat it one. So in this case, we just need to repeat it. I'm not sure about these. These numbers seem to. Is that two traces? Is that a different trace we're mixing in here? So repeat is 1, right? Repeat is 0, repeat is 1. And then when we go wide enough, repeat is still 1. Why is repeat 1? Maybe let's, so we need to repeat it. Something is weird here. So we should need to repeat it. Oh, okay. Because wait, so why these weird numbers, right? So why do they change? Why do they change? Because we changed the scalar, right? Because the scalar, so if we take the scalar, right, and just say return here, why? So during scaling, something is wrong, right? And Why? What am I missing? It's not this, right? It's not us. So what am I missing? Because this node here, right? This game node, which is control. What if we just change this to a node? This is a control, right? So this control has a layout mode, and this has full rect, and I guess it's doing some automated stuff, right? So it's fighting us. So what if we change the type here to just node? Nothing broke, right? Nothing broke. I mean, this is also a control, right? So what if we change the type here? We will regret this, right? Why is this value always goes down when I move? It's fine, right? As soon as I stop moving, why? Yeah, this doesn't work, right? Oh, yeah. That's the change I undid accidentally. Yeah, we cannot run this. We don't have a music manager, right? So this repeat here, right, comes from the background script. So what if actually, let's change that script and set it to, oh, it is set to 0.5, which is interesting. But is it this? So why is this not, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Is our formula wrong? Okay. No. Yeah, thanks for the bad brace there. Right, so we have screen size.x and screen size.y. Because the only reason this can be broken is our screen size is wrong, right? So, well, where's it's, we have the right screen size while resizing, right? So, and then we always go back to 1178. Why? Because our scaler now forces us, right? Our scaler scales everything, and I guess the viewport we get. What does this actually do? Returns the node's closest viewport, otherwise returns null. Closest viewport. Do we want to get window instead? Let's try a get window, right? But I'm not sure if window has a size. Window has a size. Let's try get window instead. Oh, because it's doing render to texture, right? So right, so as soon as I let go, this number is wrong, right? Because this 800 by 251 sounds right, right? So 800 by 64 is right, and that other one is wrong. And obviously my repeat count is, oh, we still need to apply the scale. Okay. But okay. GD script Windows resize event. The window size is wrong. On viewport resize. So we can connect to the viewport resize. Okay. So in ready. And let me do a... I wonder how often this will trigger, right? Something is... this number here is fishy. So I'm resizing, right? So I get the resizes. Maybe we just call the fixed size on the resize. This feels better. I'm not sure why it's... And it probably should do it once at startup, right? Because we're doing something to the texture. So back to our repeat, right? Let's remove the noise. So I'm still not sure, something might be a bug or something I'm missing, right? So if we go super wide, we want to repeat it 2 times. 2 times is wrong because we have the scaling factor baked in, right? And if we are super small, we don't want to repeat it at all. So we need to, to the repeat here, right? We need to say repeat equals, and we need to apply the scale from the scalar, right? Which I don't want to get, so I just do this. I'm still not sure which screen size we want, right? If window or viewport. Oh, this is probably multiplying. I would expect a repeat 1 here. I'm going to do this and move it to the other screen, right? So to fill 1900, we want to repeat 1.8 times, but we have to round that up, right? We have to round that up to an odd number, right? We have to round that up to the next odd number. So you want to round that up to the next odd number. So we do repeat. How do we do this? We probably floor it, right? So we can't get to the next odd number really easily, right? Repeat, but we can get to the next even number. Is this the right way around? This gives us, so for 0, this returns 0. For 1, this returns 0. For 2, this returns 1, right? Just this part. So this is our repeat, right? Is this our repeat? Let's just... So we need to repeat it once, which is wrong, right? Well, this is right, but for this... So, again. So, here's what I want, right? If repeat is 1, I want 1. If repeat is 1 to 3, I want 3. If repeat is 3 to 5, I want 5, right? And this is what I want, right? So what is the formula between that? So I thought, if I take this value here, right? If I take this value and divide this by 2, or times 0.5, right? And then I get a value between 0 and 0.5 here, right? And for this, times 0.5, let's actually write it 0.5 times, right? Oh, maybe that was an integer division I did there, right? So this will give us... Oh, this will give us 0.5 to 1.5, right? That's not what we want. Just, and this will give us... Sometimes this math stuff is hard. To 2.5, which we... Well, we don't want to floor it. We want to seal it, right? What if we round this up? What if we seal this, actually? This gives us 1. This gives us 1 to 2. Which is not what we want, right? 2 to 3, which is not what we want. Need a bathroom break real quick in a minute. My brain is stuck, right? So we want our repeat, right? So our repeat I'm not even sure why this is 0.1, right? Why is this? If I divide. Okay. Okay, the problem is our scale, right? We don't need to apply our scale. Right? Okay. Let's backpedal a bit here. Set it in our brain a bit frozen, right? So for roughly square, why is the repeat 0.5 here? Because it doesn't, okay, let's, right. This is the tough part. I knew this was going to be rough, so. Because our scale is 0.5, right? But we want to unapply our scale. We don't want to double apply our scale. We want to unapply our scale, right? So for square, roughly square, the repeat is 1. For half, the repeat is half. For 2, it's nearly 2. And for 3 times as wide as high, it's nearly 3, right? So, okay, we double applied it. That still makes this other formula, right? So what if we want the next multiple? So we add 1, right? Is floor repeat plus 1, right? Make sure, so for 0.5 we want 1, for 1.5 we want 1, so we add 1 and floor it down to the next integer, right? Pretty straightforward. So we have 1 here, and as soon as we go above 1, we get a 2, right? We get a 2. And if we go above 2, we get a 3. But you don't want that 2, right? We want 1, 3. So we want multiples of so my brain is stuck in a loop. I'm gonna make some fresh tea and gonna be back in a second, right? And maybe I should go to this screen so I actually see. Sorry, be back in a minute. Hey, you're still there. Tea, kettle. So usually when I hit problems, I pace around the office, take a walk around the block, and then it goes like, oh, and on stream I tend not to do this. So this gives us in the right, gets us in the right range, right? But we want odd numbers. We don't want even numbers. We want the next bigger odd number, right? So how do we get even numbers? Right? And I'm gonna do it step by step. So if we round up, right, we take the repeat. We take this repeat now, which is the correct repeat. Okay, I'm going to explain to what. Okay. Why does it need to be an odd repeat, right? So the texture stays center. If we would switch between odd and even, it would jump by half the texture size, right? And that would be very, very jarring. I'm actually, let's actually do that. Let's actually do that, right? Before I, so this is, before I fix this, right? We do this. And what do we need this number for? Well, we have a size, right? So what if we say size.x equals 1024 times repeat? Ignoring the position for now, which is half the, we did that math just a second ago, right? So if I do this, right? Not fixing the, it goes from 1 to 2 to 3, right? We still need to offset that, obviously. So the offset needs to be the position dot x is probably minus 512, right? Which is the current value. Or let's make that more explicit, right? It's 0. It's minus half the width, right? It's minus half the width of the texture. This is just centering the texture. This is just centering the sprite. And then we need to subtract, don't let me lie. Oh, what if we just subtract half the size? What if we just subtract this? This is too much now. Oh, we just subtract half the size, right? We just set it to minus half the size and we're done. Right, so fills the screen. If you go smaller, it goes to just doing 1. If you go higher, it does 3. But you see, here we have this, here it jumps by half the, it's a bit hard to see, but if you watch for this circle with a dark splotch here, it jumps here, right? So it jumps half the texture size. And that's why we want uneven repeats, because this jumps here, right? The positioning jumps in a non-matching fashion, right? So, okay. I forgot how long my tea needed to, well, it will be fine. So, what if we do this, right? What if we do this? This gives us values between, it rounds up, right? So, values below 2 will be rounded up to 1. Values below 4 will be rounded up to 2, and so on. And then we multiply that back by 2 to get only even numbers, right? So so this gives us a 2, right? And this gives us a 4. And I can't go wide enough, but this gives us a 6. This gives us an 8. And that number is probably 1 too big, right? This number is probably 1 too big, because even in the smallest version, it gives us 2, right? But we want a 1 here. So what if we just subtract 1 here? We don't get the next bigger even number. We get the next better, wait. Wait, do we want to actually do this the other way around? What if we floor this, right? I mean, this is funny because this is basically a CL plus nothing, right? Plus 1 and then flooring is the same as... right, so again, so this gives us a 1. And then it jumps to a 3, looking at the numbers down here. And then it jumps to a 5, right? And then it jumps to 7, 9, 11, 23, right? And that's actually what we want. And the nice thing is if you look closely at the texture now, when it jumps, for example, from, let's do the 3 to 5 jump, right? If you look at the texture, it stays fixed at this circle in the middle, right? There's mild rounding errors in there, very, very minor. Probably not visible on this screen, but we have an endless repeating background now, right? That stays fixed. And even if it animates, it animates correctly, right? There's some parallax going on because the offset is based on the real size and not the fake size, but actually, so if you go very small, right? I think the texture, right? So this is very small. And the background doesn't stop because, and this is very large. but the tech background doesn't stop in pause mode now, which is a bit weird, right? So let's fix that as well. Okay, but does this make sense? Okay, we could squeeze this all into one formula, but I just don't want to. The problem is the background here, right? The background has process mode inherit, right? We didn't change that. We need to do pausable here. We did that for the other background on the other layer. So I pause and the scaling still works, right? Because we use the callback and not the process. And that is the game size, right? I'm not sure about the UI, to be honest. And something is definitely wrong with the... Where is this dialogue actually going? Let's try this again. I'm not sure where I'm clicking. Oh. We did in the main scene, right? We changed this here. Maybe change the type back to control. And see what else we broke. Right, so we didn't break the background. That is still working. We didn't break the game. I mean, I can see by the coins that this is working, right? So this is looking good, right? The game is scaling correctly. I just died. Sorry about this. And the UI is not working. Why is the UI not working? I mean, the buttons are working, right? And I can pause, but I cannot click the buttons. Oh. Wait, what? Okay, let's do one commit for the game, and this is an intermediate commit, but I don't want to change too many things at once, right? Final polishing is always like this, sadly. Godot fix background and game to work on all window sizes, right? And it's kind of work in progress, but I think that's an important one. So season episode 25, and we reach it. This is polish, right? Polish game background in Godot. And we stage this, and so we do the, okay, we connect our callback. We do some mass here, which is nice. We switched the game from control to node. I'm not sure that was smart. Maybe we switch that back. Right, then we changed the... We added that new node, right? Fair enough. We changed the anchors from the main scene. That could be a problem, right? That could be the problem layout mode for the... That is probably, and I'm gonna add the sprite background even if it's not used, right? But I think we messed up when we need to do this, right? So the So it works in full screen, in full screen. It works if you go slightly smaller. Oh. Oh. So here's the thing, right? If we do this, we probably overlap with this, right? So if we get far enough, and we probably... So my guess is at some point the right half of this button stops working, right? So if I go like this, it works, right? But these buttons don't work because they overlap with this, right? So it has nothing to do with the scaling. It's just that this here is overlapping this here. Is my wild guess right now. That the HUD, right? At the heart. Yeah, see the HUD panel here is too big. So, I mean, I don't want the HUD to block any input anyway, right? So, I never get these modes right. So, stop. Maybe we just ignore. Where's, oh. Where's the menu I wanted to test? So I don't want this to be clickable at all, right? I mean, here's the thing. We could just move the HUD below this, right? No, that doesn't sound right. That actually made things worse, so... What if we disable the HUD? I just want to see if it's a scaling issue of the HUD, right? What did we do now? Visible is false on the HUD. What did we break now? How did we manage to get... We were... So this works, right? And if I scale this... It kind of works, right? And if I move this down now... Ignoring the scaling issue, right? So this works. But if I start the game fresh... Who is capturing that event, right? So the settings button pressed. I'm going to re-add the hover to that settings button. Right, I'm just going to add our dummy hover here again. Yeah, not maybe the settings button was a bad idea, right? Maybe I add it to the pause button. And add the hover here. Oh god, we're breaking stuff instead of making it better, but... Right, so no hover. hover. So my guess is that the HUD, so if I disable the HUD, right? If I just disable it, it has nothing to do with the HUD. So let's disable the settings dialog and the result dialog, right? Oh, it's because, oh, here's the thing, right? Because the settings dialog, for example, right? It overlaps the button. It overlaps the button because it doesn't scale. So probably in the faded out state, it should be, I mean, this is the fadeable container, right? Maybe in the faded out state, but it's pass. I need to check the filter, right? So this is a fadeable. This is the fadeable. So when we do something, we do the mouse filter, right? When we fade in, we ignore Godot UI let mouse pass through. Click through a button, right? Yeah, that feels to me as well. So, okay. Stop. The controller will receive mouse blah, and the controller will receive the mouse entered and mouse exited signals. I mean, the fix is obviously fixing the scaling, but I don't think this mouse filter is actually. I mean, the obvious fix is to scale this, right? So here's the thing. If we go back to project settings and set this to, I mean, this is what we want, right? So everything works here, right? Just as designed. Everything just works here. And then we scale down. And the UI should scale, right? I'm not sure how the UI should scale, right? But the problem is this, right? Oh, the problem is this dialog here. If I get any closer, right, it blocks this button here. Can I? Right, so This is probably the frame here that, right, so it ends round about here-ish, the texture. I don't know the exact position, so that is actually correct behavior, right? It should block the button if it blocks the button. So this needs to scale, right? So I think we need to actually scale the UI. That's the fix, not the Godot scale control with window size, right? And this is UI doesn't scale, so probably, and I forgot my T. And the problem is, right? I mean, the obvious fix is to go back into scale mode. So it's stretch mode, not scale mode, right? Stretch mode, canvas items. And this will scale the UI, but it will totally break our game, right? Because it just doesn't render outside of the... Wait. What if we change this back to node, right? Then this is not a canvas item anymore, right? This is, the background is a canvas item, but not the rest of the game, right? So the problem is we see the black bars, right? I do not want the black bars, so we cannot use this mode, right? That's where we started from. We can go viewport, right? Same problem. Right, so black bars. We do not want black bars. We want scaled UI. I mean, okay. I mean, this is just doing a viewport, right? This is just doing a viewport, right? So what if we rendered the UI? What if we rendered the whole UI, right? What if we added a viewport here? And I think we have to have a... I'm not sure I want that, but what if we have a viewport container here, right? Right here, and for now we just put the HUD in there. Right, and this now needs a viewport. And we put the HUD in that viewport, right? And now if we... It's in the wrong position, it's up here, right? But it's not scaling, right? But we could scale this, right? Because this sub viewport has a size. And I don't know, maybe we make it always the full size, right? So make it always the full size. Obviously now it's moving in the wrong direction, right? So the subview container needs to fill the parent. Wait, is it the sub viewport that actually does the... So what if we make this half the size, right? I mean, it will render with less precision right now, but it will also... So how do I stretch that on... Can we do it like that? And there's no transparency information, right? Which is kind of a bit... can we... I never did that before, right? Clear mode always, update mode when visible is fine. Can we have transparent background? Yes, we can. So, right, so we have this, but now the sub viewport container in layout, can we scale this, right? So we scale this to half size. Right, and this is half size, and if we actually go back to our case we just had, and I'm actually gonna go to project settings real quick and just do this as the default case, right? I wish there was a quick toggle between sizes in project. So that part of the UI now is smaller, right? It still doesn't scale automatically, and the positioning is all over the place. But if we put our whole UI in there, and actually we could even, for the viewport, right? We could make this dynamic, right? We could, so if I half this again, and half this again, half this again, I'm not sure if we should set the size of a viewport dynamically. But by this, we can get it smaller and bigger, right? Let's actually, okay. I'm gonna do this. Let's say size equals 1024, right? Size.x. We set that every frame. Bad idea. Bad idea. Bad idea, right? We set that every frame. Actually, we can do what we did for the background, right? What we did for the background here. Let's steal all of this, right? And just crazy idea, and I never used this before, but what if we say we do this, right? And then we do something here when the viewport size changes. And what do we set? What if we set size equals, and I should have copied that one line more, right? That one line more would have been so amazing. So this one here, screen size. So what if we set the, what if we take the screen size here, right? And when we change the size, we fix the size of the sub viewport. So if we get bigger, it doesn't do anything, right? Does it? UI sub view, this one here, right? This size does not change at runtime, which is not good. Is our code not called? is our is this code not called at all? So we have one fixed size here, right? And then I want to disable the sound real quick. So fixed size is not called in this case, right? Why? Why not? It's called once, yes. But on viewport resize, oh. We don't resize the viewport, right? But what if we did? What if we did, right? This viewport here, what if we anchor that to the maximum? Right, this viewport is not resized, so I could do whatever I want with that. I'm not sure why this doesn't do anything, because the parent is not a control, right? So what if we change the type here? Oh man, this will to be a control, right? And this control here is actually full size. And now we broke everything. Maybe we didn't break everything. Right, so this is a control now, which is full size. So this can now be anchored, full rect, right? We go full rect. And do we get the resizing now? No, we don't get the resizing. Why don't we get, okay. Why don't we get on UI this one, right? This size is 1024 by 540. And this one does resize, right? This one does resize, definitely. All right, so we see the size change. But this one here, I mean, you can manually resize it, right? Oh, that's... Oh, we are getting ourselves. We're getting ourselves. So what we actually want is probably, can we do that? Probably it's get parent, right? We want the parent viewport size change to be. Okay. Okay, now we get the fixed size, right? So what we can do is whenever we get the fixed size, we set our size to the parent size, right? So let's connect to this remote real quick. And so this is our initial size, which is totally random, by the way. And then we resize. And fixed size doesn't do anything, right? So fixed size is working, is being called, it's not working, right? So it's not view, it's not screen size, right? The name here is a bit misleading. Why is where's this number coming from? So this is, oh, yeah, we're still getting our own size here. We're getting the event from the parent, right? But we're still getting our own size. Okay, so let's look at this number, right? I expect this number to change when I... So we're getting a different size now, but the viewport size cannot change at runtime, apparently. We're fixing the size, but the size is not changing. Oh. If stretch is true, we cannot change it. Is stretch true? No, but what if we do stretch? Oh, I wasn't looking at the remote. I was looking at local, right? So the viewport size actually does change. The viewport size does change, but so we don't render too many pixels, right? I'm so deep in. So we have the HUD. So we can scale here, right? Do we actually... Okay, we changed the size here because... Well, actually, we don't need the script here, right? We don't need the script at all. What if we don't call this? Right? Oh. What if we don't call this? So we connect to the remote, right? And we're in stretch mode. So it's automatically resized for us, right? So if we go lower, it starts to cut off at the bottom. You see the coin here, right? And then we go bigger. It starts to show more because it's not scaling with this. The content is not scaling with the parent, right? So how do we scale this? Can we just put, right? So we have a transform here and we have a scale here, right? So what if we just scale this to 0.5? And it gets smaller, right? So, but aren't we doing, couldn't we have just done that from the start? Couldn't we just have said, okay, in-game pause menu, right? We have a transform here and we have a scale here. What if we just change this scale here, right? That's what we kind of want, right? But the problem is then we can't lay it out anymore, right? And the advantage of this is, and I'm just going to disable this whole bloody thing. So this here, right? This viewport container, wait. All right, so we have anchor points. Our anchor offsets are 0, 0. What? Wait, what? Oh, because we're at scale. Okay. This does not make... So, question, right? Our project settings. Okay. Sorry, we have to go back here, right? This is our project. This container here should be, right? Full screen. Full screen. So why is our right offset this here, right? Why is it 960? I mean, our sub viewport here is the same size, right? And the HUD here has a scaling. So let's undo the scaling of the HUD, right? So our HUD now is in that sub viewport, which is somewhere, but not on screen. Where? I lost it. I lost it. How do we scale the UI? How do we scale the UI? I think the sub viewport is kind of the right approach, and I want the... So what if we set all the anchor points to the middle, right? Then I would expect this to be minus 960 and this to be minus 540, right? Which, what is wrong here? I mean, this UI here, where's this UI, right? This transform here. Oh, okay. This transform here now is full rect 2, and now the numbers make sense, right? So, and the sub viewport is basically just that. So we have the UI back here, right? And if we scale it, if we scale the window, nothing happens, right? Same as before, we disabled the pause button. So same as before, but what we want to do is this should get smaller, right? So this sub viewport here in the remote, this sub viewport here gets smaller, right? So we render at much lower precision, which we don't realize, but the scaling is still not there, right? So what we need to do is if we go half size, right? So if we go half size from our default size, so if we go half size, and we have to be careful because we don't want to squish it, right? We want to keep an aspect ratio, so we need to figure out the scaling. But what we do here is if we go half size, right? The window is half size, so the UI should be half size. So what if on the actual HUD in here, right, we set the scale to 0.5. We set the scale to 0.5. Problem is, right, this is now rendered in the wrong position. The problem is, right, what if we had a second panel here and I just put the layout to top left, right? Just put it to top left. The top left is correct, so I can't just move the position, right? I can't just move the position because Are we overthinking this? What happens? What happens if we just move this here? Can you move it where I put it and not where you think I want it? Thank you. So same behavior, right? The problem is okay. Oh, okay. So here's the thing, right? What if I set this to 0.5 and doubled the size? Where did it go? Where did it go? What did I have no idea what I'm doing. Scalable UI in Godot. And I don't want the Okay, did you find a solution for this? Is there control for that? We're completely breaking it now, right? So UI. There's no scale on here, right? The HUD. Did we... Where did we... What the hell did I do? Okay, so this. Right, this is our... Ignore the sub view, right? That was an experiment that we abandoned for now. So we have the UI, we have the HUD here, right? And the HUD should be... So this container here is full screen, right? So this... Okay, so this is not helping, right? So I wish it would put it at the first and not as the last, right? So okay, so this panel here is top right. Wait. Why is the HUD not the maximum, right? This panel here should be top right, and this panel here, just for testing purposes, is top left, right? So that works. It doesn't. Well, it does, because that is, it's probably okay. Let's replace panel 2 actually. Let's remove all of this in here, right? Let's add color rect. Right, a color rect, something, I don't know. Nice and pinkish. Right, so just to show the top left corner, right? That works. My problem is, let's rephrase this, right? If I reduce the window size, I want the UI size to shrink. So my idea would be, if I want the UI size to shrink, and I'm just doing it to the HUD for now, I just set the scale to half, right? And did that just work like that? No. Because I don't. So it shrinks correctly, but the positioning is wrong, right? So if I take the HUD here and say right, and say var scale equals, I don't know, 1920. Divided by screen. We just use the width for now, right? .x. That is our scale, and then I say self.scale.x equals scale and mass to be fixed, right? But this is basically what I want. And it works partially. So, yeah, that's not a function, right? And actually, let's go here and reset this, right? So it should be 1. Right, so, oh, I always do this division the wrong way around. Always, for the past 20 years. Right, so I make it smaller, UI gets smaller. I make it bigger, UI gets bigger. And that's nice, right? Now, I could just apply the scale to every individual element. Right, so I don't apply it on the HUD. I don't do it here, right? I don't do it here. I do it on the panel, right? So the panel scales, but then I have to scale every single UI element after positioning. So I could add a script here, right? I could create a script and call this HUD panel, right? And I could just do this here. I could just scale the panel after the positioning. I guess I could do that. So it does scale, but the positioning is all over the place, right? Because this panel has a transform that says top right. So what if I set this to custom and say anchor point is 1, 0, and anchor offsets is so what if, right? Anchor right is right, right? And this is the size of the element, right? So the problem is when the size of the element changes, and the size of the element changes, right? Oh man, this is... Right, so we have the panel element here, and that has a scale right now. So the problem is when the scale changes, the size doesn't change, right? And this is 600 pixels. So we probably need to... There has to be a better way. I can't be the only person on the planet having this problem, right? I mean, so the scaling works. We're running in circles here, right? So the scaling works nicely. The scaling works, but it totally messes up the positioning, right? The scaling works, but it totally messes up the positioning, right? And ideally, I don't want the scaling here, right? I want the scaling here. If I can't do that, well, didn't I? Didn't I do it here? Oh, I removed it, right? So if I do it here, the thing is, it will scale the UI, right? And it's, but the positioning is all over the place. So I'm giving up for today. I need to think this through with a fresh brain, right? And I'm super worried also. So, okay, what if we put this on here, right? Let's just, so let's have a UI here and just put this script here, right? Let's just steal this here and put this on the UI instead. And yes, we should only do that on resize, right? So the thing is, no, we don't want the sub viewport container here. Lots of experiments here, right? So our UI now scales. And here we see the first problem, right? The buttons. Wait. This here, right? This here is a child of the UI, and the UI scales. We saw that scale, right? Why does this panel not scale? Right? The UI scales. So the UI, right? If you look at the scale here, the UI scales, right? But this thing here does not scale. Why doesn't it scale? I mean, it's, right? So the UI scales, and then we have the in-game pause menu, and I know I can scale that. Why doesn't it apply the scale from... Okay, so... It does scale, but then use the full rect anyway. So I don't know, right? What if we make this custom? Set the anchor points and the anchor offsets, so we have the full thing, right? because the texture doesn't scale. Wait, that can't be true because nothing scales anymore, right? Nothing scales anymore. This button scales, right? Oh, because we were in pause mode, right? When we're in pause mode, it stops scaling. Because the UI, right, in process should be on always. Oh, that was my mistake, right? So the funny, it does scale, but the positioning is wrong, right? So how do we, I could go over every single node and apply the scaling in there, right? And fix the positioning manually, but that's not what a UI system is for. So that's what the UI system is for, right? So the scaling at this level works. Right? It works nicely. It just messes up the positioning. Right? And it even, the buttons are where they're supposed to be. So small buttons still work, right? So that works. It's just a layout. So here's the thing, right? If I have something like the in-game, not the top, the settings container, right? And this is centered. If this is centered, right? If this is centered, I want it centered. I don't want the scaling to be applied on the position. I only want it to be applied on the size, right? I have no idea. So we made a whole lot of mess out of this, right? So what I will do is I'm gonna do a reset hard. Okay. Git status, right? We only we have this new okay. UI experiment size, right? I don't know why I do this on the command line. Play with UI sizing. Right, git check out main. So git, well, we stage these on the branch, right? And then we check out main again. Right, so this is the UI sizing play with scripts and everything, and now we're back on clean slate, and And we're back in this mode, right? And that all works. Our UI just tested wrong size. So I'm getting hungry. It's getting late. I'm getting nowhere. I mean, I like that we fixed the game. So the sad thing is, right, if we set the project back to stretch mode canvas items, right, then the UI scales nicely. But it does this weird clipping at... I don't want black bars, right? Godot, stretch canvas items without black bars. Stretch aspect expand. Wait, what? Wait. Did I just miss a setting? Aspect, keep height. We still have the black... Wait. Ah! We should have done that earlier. So what if we set expand? Our background is now broken, right? Our UI scales correctly, right? And our game double scales. So, wait, I want to see the... Wait, we are in expand mode. Let's do the big one, right? So that works. And if I scale now, the UI gets smaller and stays where it's supposed to be, right? That's what we want. And we don't get black bars, so... Okay. So now if we undo the double scaling, right? This one here, the hot script, okay, there's nothing there. This is the old way, right? So if we go into the game and tell the game scaler, just do nothing, right? Just do nothing. I mean, there's something wrong with the height of the background, but so I still wanted the game scaler to scale the height, I think. Right? We still want to have our 1024. But that's it. So this is 1080 now, all right? And we want 1024. So I'm talking about the red cross, ignore the background. So we still want to... What if we scale the game? Just the game, ignore the background, right? We double scale now, right? Oh, yeah, this is not our scale, right? Our scale is literally, it's 1080, right? And probably the other way around. Is it 1024? As always, right? No. So wait a second. I'm only okay, and then we need to offset, do that offset, right? So our axes are now where they're supposed to be. Our coins feel fine. Let's see these mountains, right? And if I scale this, okay, so I mean, basically we're letting Godot do what we did manually and ignoring the background issue right now, right? But for the game, this works, and we said we roughly, this is what we want to play, right? And our UI is working now. And we don't have the problem of the overlap anymore because it scales, right? So we never get it to overlap. I mean, even if we play, ignore the background. I don't like this, right? So we actually do need to scale the game, right? We do need to scale the game. So, but I think we need to also apply our 1080 by 1024, right? So we need to apply both scalings. So we also need to say scale, and I'm probably going to do this the wrong way around again. Right, so our axes are where they're supposed to be, and it's double scaling now, so I think there's another session of this coming in tomorrow. But we have a way of doing it now, right? We just have to redo all the masks we just did. So the thing is, right, if we just do this, everything works. If we just change the height, right? The problem is if we change the widths, if we change the widths, the system says if we get too small, it tries to keep the aspect ratio, right? And we don't want that. We want to fight the aspect ratio, right? So here's the thing. Let's actually print the aspect ratio, right? The thing is, this is our, I'm just gonna make it smaller, right? So we see the aspect ratio here, and if we get to the original aspect ratio, which was 177, right? The classic 16 by 9. So as soon as it gets smaller than 16 by 9, it will scale our game down, right? But we don't want that because we are smarter, right? We don't want that, right? And I just I just accidentally enabled the position fixing. The thing is, right? Why? Oh, we do want the position fixing, right? If we fix the scale, we want to fix the position, but let's just fix the Y position for now. Just it's okay. So our X is at the right position, right? And if I get smaller, everything is fine, right? Ignore the background. We're gonna go, we know what to do now. So everything is fine as long as the aspect is, we can go wide, right? There's no problem with that. The problem is Godot is smart, well, tries to be, And if I go narrow, it starts to scale down the height, right? And I don't want that. So if we go below our initial aspect, right, we then just want to counter scale kind of. So basically, okay, let's do this here, right? And we say if A is smaller than 1.77, then we say bar S is 1.77. So I'm doing this the wrong way around again, right? And scale times equal times S, right? So we undo the damage Godot did while meaning well. And we have a special case here, right? So we undo the damage. I'm not sure why we get this 2 pixel. It works correctly, right? But we're kind of 2 pixels off. Oh, that's just the background, right? The X is probably fine. Why is the background height not working? Is that a rounding error? So, okay, let's do this correctly, right? This is not 1.77. This is var target aspect, right? And that is 1920 by 1080. And this probably shouldn't be hard-coded. This should come from the project settings. And we probably should kind of lerp into this. So it's all fine if we go wide, right? None of our code triggers. But if we go narrow, and there is, I think there's already off by 1 pixel in the screen. But if we go narrow, right, we counteract the damage Godot is doing and fix our screen height to what we want, right? And this works with UI, right? And if you go high, very high, it works, right? And if you go very wide, ignore the background. Ignore the background for the moment. If you go very wide, it also works, right? And this is probably the, we said we probably want to do something like, I don't know. This is an aspect of, we set 2.5, right? So we want something like this to be playable. The fish position and the center of the screen is wrong, but so we saw stuff plop in here because our center of the screen is offset, right? So we need to fix the center of the screen, which is currently wrong, but we counter the counter scaling, right? Ooh, that was good. Good that we didn't give up. Good that we did not give up, right? So we have our position X, and this is not the fix we want, right? Is it? I mean, that looks roughly like the middle of the screen to me, but this isn't, right? So our X here is wrong. What do we actually want to do with our X? What do we want our X to be? We want X to be the middle of the scaled size, right? So do we actually want this times scale? Is that all? So red X's on the middle of the screen, right? And they are not anymore. So where's my brain freeze? Where is my brain freeze? Actually, let's not fix the position X, right? So we can override it manually. So I do this, right? So, and then I connect to the remote, go to the game scaler. Thank God we have that, right? We scale by a little bit. We're already counteracting. Okay. So what is this? We don't know the size, right? We don't trace that anywhere, but basically we want the position here. We want the position to be, I don't know, 2000. Right, we want it to be 3000. 3000. Why can't I type 30? Something like this, right? Remember, Godot doesn't like it when you press Command Q while the game is running. Okay, I hope we are where we have been. Yeah, so we want to print %d times %d %f, right? Screen size.x, screen size. And it's not screen size, right? We should fix that at some point. So we go back to our wide mode, right? Something around 2.5. No, let's do it like this to have more space, right? So we have 1500 here, right? So at 1500, to be honest, if I go here into the remote, the game scaler at 1500, I would expect 780, right? 780. And that is the wrong. Okay, so right, 0 is this. 1565 is too much. Right? Because we need to subtract 960 from this. No? Or is it actually 1920 minus 780? Yeah. No. Yeah. No. So the problem is the system is scaling for us, right? Can we get that scaling factor? Do we know that scaling? We need to know what Godot is doing, right? So it's not 960. 960 is not enough, right? It's not 780. Is it? No. Is it 960 plus 0.5 times 780? Is it that? Okay, what did I just do? Is it 960 plus 0.5, a quarter of the 1565? Is that the middle? So half the width plus a quarter of the size. I've heard that formula before, right? So is it half our 1920 that we want plus a quarter of the screen size, right? Is it that? Or is that just a random coincidence that kind of, it's just bull. I don't know. I think we parked the X offset. I mean, the rest seems to work much better than half an hour ago when I was ready to give up, right? I mean, what I don't understand. Oh, wait. What I do understand. Okay. So. Var GD scale, right, is actually, well, it's probably the lower of the two scales, right? So, okay. Let's do the manual scaling trick, right? So var at var scale x is screen size dot x divided by 1920, right? So what do we have to multiply with to get to the, and we could do this as a vector, but I was just too lazy to find a name for that vector, right? Right? This is probably what Godot is doing internally, right? This is how do I have to scale it to keep the aspect ratio? And I probably did the wrong way around, right? So I'm gonna move this to the other screen, right? So it says, hey, the height is a little bit too low, right? Or let's put the height to exactly 1080. Right, so this is pixel perfect. This is perfect, right? And now I go narrow. Right, I make the window smaller so you can see it on the other screen. And that doesn't do anything to the result, right? Because we unfix it here. I don't have the brain for that math today. I am sorry. We're gonna park that. All right, so we're so close. All that is, we've been missing this offset. Problem is, if I do the background now, I have the same problem, right? So let's fix the background partially, because the only thing that's missing with the background is the exact same offset, right? Well, wait. I wonder, right? So we're using this this window mode aspect expand, right? I want to know what scaling Godot is using. I mean, right? I don't know we have the source. We do have the source. So why don't we just do that and say stretch mode expand? Let's just check for expand, right? Probably finds a lot of code, so what is the actual, can we set the project expand mode from, so this is display window stretch mode. Display window stretch aspect. So wrong browser. Never give up, and you will find the solution, right? So stretch. I wish this site was faster. Low power mode. Yeah, me too. Wow. Come on. I mean, I could try to rendering. Stretch settings, right? So content scale mode. Ha. Gotcha. Content scale mode, content stretch mode. Content scale aspect. The contents aspect. I mean, I wish we had a content scale aspect expand centered. Something like that. But this is a good start, right? Because this means we can go to GitHub, search for this exact thing, and there's 4 in the code, which is nice, right? So, wow. I suspected this line. So we have 2 stretches, right? It depends on. So it does some math here to decide, hey, do we go wide or do we go high, right? And that is our target aspect, basically. So if we go wide, right? Well, if we go wide, we make the viewport bigger to accommodate, and if we go high, we go down here, right? So it just calculates the video mode aspect, which comes from our initial data. And then just fixes the viewport size. So we have the viewport size, right? We do have the viewport size, so right, this is basically, okay, we have the condition swapped around here. Well, no, this is what we have, and this is what we want, right? So if we hit that, we multiply the X by the aspect we want, right? And we multiply by our S, which is the unfixer, so probably is all we have to do multiply by S here. Wait, what's wrong with this? Oh, we don't have S, right? This is wrong. Okay. Okay, wait. Is it just this? Don't we care about the screen size actually? Is it just this screen size here? What is the freaking value we want, right? So I would say if you have a window that is, let's say 800 wide, 800 wide, right? And we connect to our scaler. Can you? We can't do that because our script keeps overwriting the value we want, right? So if we have a window that is 800 wide, right? And then we connect to it. So this is the value we want to fix, right? So if it's 0, our thing is exactly here. If it's 800, it should be at these x's should be at the right corner, right? But it's I'm not sure why I can't type. So the window is 800 wide, right? Our aspect ratio is 2.45 and our scale X is 0.45, right? So I would expect our window size is 1920, right? But we need to multiply that by the inverse of the 0.45, right? So we can divide by 0.41. And that is too much, right? So what if we multiply that by 0.5? So this is the aspect ratios I expect, right? And we're in, let's get out of fixing land, right? Because we're in the land of okay. Let's remove this for the moment, right? Yes, I know we hit the, we break the, hey, you're going too far, right? You're going too far, ignore the background. And I just want to, so if we scale down, the center is correct, right? The initial center stays correct. So 960, our half initial, needs to be factored in there, right? But here we start to move in the wrong direction. I want to get a nice round number. Let's say 0.5 for this, right? So if we connect to this game scaler, it's set that you have to double click, right? This is our initial value. So if we don't scale, right? So if we don't scale, because this one is higher, right? This one is higher, so we don't scale X. Well, grain of salt for all of this, right? So if we go wide, so as soon as we hit this, right? As soon as X is larger than Y, as soon as X is larger than Y, we're in that other land where we would be fixing this, right? So we could do the comparison between these two instead of these two. So here we need to, the 960 still stays valid, right? The 960 but we need to add more. We need to add by what we are expanding, right? By what we're expanding X. And in this case, we're expanding X by 1.77, right? So what if we just... I can't do it. I can't do it today. Let's just heuristically do a few things, right? So I'm not sure why I don't get updates here anymore, which is a bit annoying. Can you just follow this, please? So 4,000 pixels, right? No. $800. 915. Let's go for 1,000, right? For 1,000 pixels wide, what is the actual number? So it's about 1,300, right? 1,000 pixels is 1,300, and I wish I had a scratch pad here, piece of paper. Yeah, nobody has that anymore, right? So 1,000 leads to 0.52 leads to 1,300, right? So if we make this 100 pixels wider, 100, right? So 1,100. So do I just add the 100 here? Maybe. Right, so let's make this even wider and say, I don't know. Can we go 2,000? Let's say 1,700, right? 1,700. So that's 600 pixels more. Do I just add the 600? Do I just plain add them? No, I have to add more, right? So I add another, I don't know. I don't see a pattern here, my friends. So well, 100 is 1,000 is 1,300. So maybe it's just this is a step of 100. This is a step of 900. What am I not seeing? Where is my brain stuck, right? All I want is these red things, right? Actually, okay, I'm gonna, oh, don't hate me, right? These red things here, right? So if I go to my main scene, please, I have my UI, right? I have my UI. And I have the HUD. What if I just add a texture? Let's just add a color rect, right? Oh, let's actually add a texture rect here, right? And we anchor that to top center, right where we want this thing to be, right? And then we use the same texture. Yeah, that's good. That's nice. That's nice to have this offset. And just for visibility, we modulate that slightly into the yellow range, right? So all I want, and this is already wrong, right? So this is already wrong. All I want is that these two axes are like this, right? So if I go to my main scene, In this mode, everything is fine. And as soon as I go into wide mode, I need to fix that value, right? And the question is by how much? As soon as I go into wide mode, even if slightly, I mean, right? What if we just go so it's, right? This is still fine. And this is weird. Okay. Let's go 540 for height, right? Just to have this same. We could do this from script via button probably, right? 540 by 960 is our base value, right? This is scaled exactly half, no stretching, no. So as soon as we go, let's add 10 pixels, right? So 960 game scalar. Oh, I have the mod filter here. So 960, right? So this is our offset. We're at 0.5. So we add 960. So if we are at 980, right? If we are at 980, what if we just add 980 here? We just, okay. That's perfect, right? So what if we go very wide? 1572, right? So 1572. That is nice. That is nice, right? So what if we go make the window higher now? So what if we divide this value by 0.8818 now? No, so 1572. What if we multiply that by 0.818? I was looking at this value here, right? But so if we are at, can you not stop scrolling for, right? So if we're 540 high, at 540 height, we just use the 1572. We just use the X as the offset, right? Because it's scaled by 0.5. It's scaled by 0.5. So, oh, what if we go to 600, right? Our 1572 is obviously wrong, but what if we... So what is the value now? Let's just try, right? 50? Nope. 1500? Nope. 1400? Slightly more. 1420? Nope. 1418? Right, I'm aligning these two up there. So 1414. Let's say 1414, right? At 15. Well, so at 600 height, right? 600 height. Oh, 0.818 and 0.555. We need 1414, right? So we make this window wider. Thank you for not following along. It just stop scrolling at this time, right? So let's say 1630. 1630. So I would usually say 1630, right? Which is too much. So the 1440 we had before is not enough, right? So that was 1572, right? So 1500. So I think we need to, by how much does it extend it, right? By how much does it overextend? And we know that number, right? It overextends by, so, okay. So ideal pixel ratio, right, would be 1.77. We know that. But we have 2.77. So it's overextending, right, by times 1.77 divided by 2.71. Oh, wrong way around, right? 1630 times 1630. No, times 177 divided by 271, right? I can't. I have the formula here, right? So this is a screen size. So, okay. Actual video mode, desired resolution, right? It calculates the aspect ratios. Oh, nice. There's a dot aspect, which I didn't know, which just returns width divided by height, right? So we are currently, the screen will need black bars, right? So this will stretch horizontally because we go high. So we are in this, I can't. I just can't. What? So we're here, right? So we set position dot x equals actually screen size dot x, right? This is only valid at exactly 540, right? No, exactly as exact as I can go. So this value is valid, right? As long as we are in the white mode, okay. So this is only valid in the white mode, right? In the other mode, we just do 960, right? Because it's, once we're here, it's not it's scaled, it's not stretched, right? It's not extended. So if we go here, it extends. And by how much does it extend, right? It needs to add pixels. So if we go 10% larger here, if this is 10% larger than this, right? And I wish I had hit the 540 exactly, but that's so hard, right? This is 10% larger than this. So it extends by that. And that's a red herring, right? Because it scales everything by this value, right? Whatever value we set is going to be scaled by 0.5. So if we use exactly this value, it will be divided by 2. But as soon as we do this, right, it will be divided by 0.5, which doesn't make any. I can't do this right now. We're close. We're very close. I can't. My brain is not grogging this right now. So having screen size in here is weird, right? I would expect the fixed value. I would expect something like, so here's the thing, right? If Sx is smaller than Sy, right? Pass, else, pass. Right, so, and, right, we go back into our, into our 540 height. Right, so it fits, and if we go smaller, we just set our 960, right? I'm messing this up so badly right now. So my math is just fried right now. Long week. Long night last night. Didn't sleep very good. Well, I slept like a baby. So obviously I'm doing it exactly the wrong way around now, right? So let's... Classic, right? So let's try this again. So the problem is this is already the fixed aspect we are getting, right? Can we use that? Can we use the A? Wait. All right, this is 960. This is 960, right? Forget this thing for the moment. We know, okay, we know the aspect we want, right? So from the aspect we want, which is target aspect, right? We know for a given height, we know what widths we should have, right? So, okay. So we know our target X, right, is 1920 times the target aspect, right? This is what we want. This is what we want, right? This is the width we want. So I hate this string formatting in GDScript, which clearly shows that I just messed that up, right? So this is TX. This is the width we do want, right? If it wasn't extended. So thanks for nothing. All right, so if we go to our 540 I should have added a button by now for this. And I should have stopped an hour ago. Oh, ooh, this is gonna hurt tomorrow. 540 by 960, right? The exact point where this starts to trigger. So why is our TX oh, actually it's 1080, right? TX is not, oh, and we need to multiply that by SY, right? So this is our target width. Our target width is 960. And that's why our game scaler has an offset of 960, right? Because it's 960 times, we need to unmultiply we need half the width. So 1920 by 0.5 is 960. So if we make it wider now, right? And thank you for clearing this again. So this is a bit noisy, right? But if we make it wider now, right? So if we make this wider now and go to 1060, right? This is 100 pixels too much. Is it? So we need to add these 100 pixels, right? And that is not the actual width. That's the how much do we have too much, right? So if I go up and this is our value, right? So 1148. No. Okay. My system doesn't want to do this anymore. So okay, well, why is this in process at all, right? So if I look at my, where's, oh, we had that in the branch, right? So in the branch, we had the, where is it? Right, we have this here. Let's just do this on the viewport resize just to, where's my game scaler? Here's my game scaler. So let's just do this in here, right? Instead of here, and let's move all of this just to reduce the noise, right? We only need to do this when the viewport changes. So this can be pass. Should have done that a long time ago, right? Just to delete the millions of lines of debug here. Oh. Yeah. It's getting late. I need to stop now. Nope. Why do I even press play when this is red? Because I put a semicolon here, right? So, much less noise. Right, so this only updates when we actually change the screen. That's a good start. So we're ignoring our height fixer for the moment, right? Because that will be another beast. So thing is, when we get wider, right? I think we need to add half this delta. Right, so okay, we cheating again by using 540 as the height, right? So we need to, right? We need to add half this delta, and this is 106. So I want to add 53. No. Right, 960 was the old value, and what if I just go to 1066? That works because we're in this half mode, right? But what if we are in 60% mode, right? Let's do 6 here, and then move it back to 960, right? 960, and that if both are 0.6, both have the same ratio, it's fine, right? So what if the one ratio has 10% more? Right? Do I have to add 10% to this value? I do. So is this just this divided by this as a multiplicator? So let's say I'm going to 70 here, right? I'm going to 70 and set the other one to 777, right? Then that fits. So is it just 960? Is it just 960 fixed by the new aspect ratio? It probably is, right? So is it just 960 multiplied by sx divided by it's sy divided, no, it's sx divided by sy, right? Is that it? Do you see that? Do you see that? I mean, it's broken for this, right? But obviously it's just the new aspect ratio, and the background is fixed too, and ignore that the stuff spawned in the wrong point, but never give up. And I wanted to do this, and we don't have the special case for too small, too narrow, right? But this works now, so let's do the special case, right? So what is the special case, right? The special case is if sx is smaller than sy, just clamp that to 1, right? So here's the thing. Var aspect ratio, right, is sx divided by sy, but we want that to be at least 1.0, right? I said makes sense. It's probably the wrong way around again because it's late. Right, so that works. And that works as well, right? Ignore the background. Our calculations are wrong, so that works. That's nice. And now we obviously have to reapply the scale fix here, right? Wait, we do apply the... Wait, I forgot the other thing we've been doing. Was it this one here? No. I forgot. I'm gonna watch the stream. I'm gonna watch the video of the stream and then... Oh wait, it's this one, right? It's this one, and this will now probably break this one again. I would say ignore the scaling, right? Because we once we reach certain limits, if we go too high, we start to scale wrong, right? To compensate for Godot trying to. But I would say woo! Nice. Nice. So we want to get rid of these markers, right? So I'm gonna disable the markers for now, and then I'm gonna go to the main scene and gonna disable the... Where's the marker? Right? Test marker. Gonna disable this. Save this. Don't give up, right? So this works. Obviously, if we go here now and do the window, do the times divided by 2 here, right? It will break down because we didn't cater for that. Everything is double the size now, right? Because we can we... I don't know if we want to really do that right now. Right, because the game scaler is set to, I mean, is set to this, right? So if I just set times 0.5 here, I'm probably sure we could get that from the aspect ratio is the same, right? And the 960 probably is also wrong now. I'm not gonna do this today. I'm not gonna do this today. Why? I mean, we have our target size, right? Oh, we have our target size. So I wonder... Right, so this works. I would love to start with that virtual viewport, but set the window to... sorry, but in the main, we add a main script, right? We need to work on initialization anyway, right? So get window, set size equals vector to 1920 comma 1080, right? Can we do that? Can we assign? And then we just say var s equals 0.5, and then we do yeah, that changed the window, and probably everything is kind of not working, right? Because the buttons are here. Oh. So get window probably is the wrong thing, right? So we probably want the... So maybe we want the root. I mean, this is the root, right? So... Let's check that real quick, right? GD script set window size. Window.size. That would have been too easy. Can I do... What does this do? I'm not sure this even works, right? Yes, it's the wrong comment. Yeah, I know. That would have been nice, right? And would have been nice. I mean, how do you make a startup dialog that says, oh, display server set window size? That makes more sense, right? That makes a lot. And I probably should have just put this into a variable. I agree. It's recommended to change this. It's amazing, right? It's amazing. So where's our scalar? No, where's our main? Wait. Window dot size. What is window? What is window? I'm deep into trouble right now. So Okay. It's probably just size, right? It's just size. I'm over and done. Over and done. That's better. So, non-ideal and doesn't work. Does not work at all. Invalid assignment. It's a vector E2, right? So, I mean, we're just gonna cheat and cast it, right? Invalid assignment. Why? Set size. Let's do set size instead, right? Oh, that makes more sense now. It's not fixing the OS window, right? It's kind of working internally, but it's not fixing the OS window. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to go to project settings. That's, yeah, I know how to do that, but I don't want to do that. Get window size equals doesn't work. I mean, is it just that at this point I can't do it? Is ready too early? Oh. Is ready too early? Nah. Okay. So would have been nice, right? Would have been nice. Well, let's live with this for now. And be happy that everything works. I mean, debugging is still, I would like to start like this. But that's something for tomorrow. I mean, this is so much better already. This is so much better. So. Oh, wow. To do. Godot fix game UI for all window sizes and refix game scale. Something like this, right? So Okay. And we have some weird, we learned something. Read the whole documentation, right? Fix UI size for different window sizes in Godot. I mean, in the end, it was just adding in a new node, and we'll work on this. We will promise. And yes, let's add the main rebase. I'm gonna push this because I want to see if that works in the browser. That's what we're here for, right? Final results. God, I'm starving. Nope, wrong repository. Can you just... And it's not a check, right? It's a full build. We need to improve the build scripts as well, but... I mean... We're getting there. We're getting there. I still have to find the old splash screen, so it's 4 hours. Oh my god, I wanted to do 2. What I do for you? I mean, I swim for you. We will do a full cleanup pass at some point, right? So let's enjoy our new ultra wide thingy. I mean, you see the plopping in and the plopping out. To be honest, I don't care about people who play like that. Well, I do. Let's see what we can do when we redo the levels, right? Because remember, we're loading legacy levels only, which we don't have an editor for anymore. So creating new levels will be impossible, but we will use that to create a new level format and a new level editor. And then we also add the, hey, where does the zone end and when do we have to spawn a new one? Right, because this is kind of, maybe they should at least fade in, or we should have fog of war. But this is a nice way of being fully resolution independent, so I like this. I like this a lot, but I'm also super tired, so I'm gonna run into this wall, enjoy the... It's... Black bars, really? Black bars? No. So, let's actually see what happens, right? Oh, let's actually close this one, because otherwise we have sound on the double, right? Because... So this works, but what I'm really interested in is, let's actually... Can I please grab this? And does this... Oh my goodness. I mean, we still don't have zones. That was on the back burner for the to-do list. But, I mean, embedded in the browsers is even more important that this works, right? So... I mean, this is an aspect ratio we're never going to support. No portrait mode, right? Not for this game. It's a side scroller, so please. Please. But I'm happy. I mean, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So I know it was a rough ride today, but oh my goodness. I mean, come on. Am I the only one who's happy by this? Who's made happy by... Come on, scroll. Can you just resize this instead of grabbing this? I mean, come on. Come on. Come on, right? I like this. So, maybe a little bit more tomorrow. I want to... work a bit more on release splash screens. There was something about that we kind of pushed. What was it that we pushed? Zones missing in the web build. Yeah, that's something I definitely want to look into. I mean, I put the itch page up. It's just a placeholder for now, so I'm blabbering on. It's been a long day. Thanks for sticking with me, and I see you when I see you. Good night and have fun.